Tanisha Finch and session with Albert. Hi Albert, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just to sort of recap from last session, I sort of, I let you know that today would be our final session together, and you said that you were feeling a bit anxious about that during the last session. I just wanted to see sort of how you're feeling about that now.
Yeah, I do remember I was quite sort of anxious when you sort of brought it up and we sort of talked about it a bit. It was like I've sort of, I guess, in a way become a little bit dependent on you guys. Coming here, it's been a very regular part of my schedule. It's been very consistent. And it's also been really great just to have someone who's willing to support me and who's here to support me, to sort of, for me to bounce ideas off of, who's, willing to help me go through job applications and, help me figure out what I can and, what I can do and what I need to do in order to get a new job. And, it's been really great. So, yeah, I was feeling a little bit nervous, but now I've sort of, I guess in a way, sort of come to terms with it, and I'm kind of excited, to almost like go out on my own, and it's been, yeah, it's sort of been a bit of a relief to sort of come to that understanding in that point in time, just to be like, I think I can do this on my own. I think I'm ready to do this on my own.
It's great that you've sort of found this experience to be supportive for you and what you need at the time, and I think it's really great that you've sort of come to terms at the end of it, and it's a good sign that you're excited to sort of move through, you know, on your own and independently. I remember in the first sessions we sort of discussed you'd wanted to find employment, and we'd linked you with an employment service. I just wanted to see, how are you feeling about your progress towards finding a job?
Well, actually, the progress has been going amazingly. So well, in fact, that I'm actually 3 days into my new job, which has been really great. It's in sort of not management, sorry. Kind of something similar to what I was doing before.
Oh, in marketing?
In marketing,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, not management. My brain's a little bit all over the
Oh,
place.
you're
My brain, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, in marketing, and it's been really great, sort of to sort of get back into that, especially because I had no faith that I was ever going to get hired in that field ever again, because like no matter how good I was at my job, the fact that I had been to prison, I felt like was like I'm going to be restricted to, labor jobs, and that's about it. Those are the only people that would ever hire me. But then when I found this job, I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to try, I'm going to do it. Put my application in, waited for the job interview. They were informed of my history, and they were like, you know what? We're going to give you a chance anyway. And they did. And I'm 3 days in, and they're so happy with my work. And it's been, the team is really supportive. I'm actually not the only guy that's been to prison that was on my team, which I guess is a good thing, because it's sort of a little bit of a camaraderie and a little bit of support. There's another guy that went to prison for some other something else, and it was sort of like oh my god, I'm sort of not like the only one that's sort of like been on the inside or whatever. But yeah, no, it's been really great, and I'm sort of really excited to, continue to work and to continue to like become more financially independent, and to sort of move out from my parents. And now that I have a job, I'm sort of starting to tentatively look at housing options, which you supported me and be just like, when you're ready, go for it. Just you don't have to, you may not get the first house or anything like that, but as long as you sort of keep looking and sort of keep trying, you'll get one eventually. And which is sort of I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna just start looking, and then just sort of start. Not I haven't put any housing applications in or anything like that, but I have sort of started to look at like maybe like a granny flat, or like a studio apartment or something along those lines, which has been really nice. It's sort of been just like I'm sort of getting my life back together. I'm really sort of getting to that point where I'm just like, yes, something really horrible happened, and yes, I went to prison, but it's not the be all end all. I actually sort of gonna get out there and just keep going.
That's really wonderful to hear, Albert. It's great to hear that you've actually found yourself in a position. I'm very happy for you that you've sort of found a job, and it seems to have, given you a much higher level of confidence than when you'd first come in here. I do remember how you'd sort of your attitude towards finding a job, you didn't feel like you had much hope, and you seem much more, optimistic now. And it seems to have had a domino effect. It's great to hear that you've started looking at places and that you're starting to feel more independent. That's wonderful to hear. Another thing that we'd spoken about when you'd come to the service was that you were looking at becoming more social in the community. We linked you with the men's shed. I just wanted to see, how's that going for you?
Oh, that's been really great.
Yeah.
When I first sort of went into prison, I sort of lost all my social connections, and I was really sort of hesitant to even bother to try and rebuild, social connections with other people. And I sort of thought, people are just going to see me as like a guy who's gone to prison. It's sort of been, didn't really feel like anything would come from it. But then I went, and I'm just like, it was kind of similar to work where I wasn't the only one that's been to prison. There's actually several guys in my little group that have all been to prison, and we've sort of come together just to sort of support each other on, what its life is like on the outside, sort of bounce ideas off of each other on how to get jobs and all of that stuff. The job that I got was actually um, a recommendation from one of the guys that I go to men's shed with. They said, they aren't really too like discriminatory against those who have been to prison. So that's why I even found it, and I was just like 100%. What harm can they do other than say no?
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was really great, and I'm a very sort of hands-on kind of guy. So one of the things that we're sort of able to do is sort of just like build things, and one of the dumb little projects, I guess, we're building a little birdhouses, kind of like high school, where you would sort of build like a little thing in wood shop. Yeah. It's been really fun just to make something just so small and so simple, but it's just like that I'm creating, that sort of come from my hands. It's just like I can sort of be like, do you guys like the shape of this? And it's like oh, it looks a bit wonky, mate. And it's like it's been really sort of fun to just like joke around and play with wood and just build things and like really sort of get my hands dirty and really get into something sort of really physical, which has been such a massive stress relief because I was sort of going to the gym a lot. I was a very physical, active person, and I was sort of a little bit active in prison, but not so much. And then when I came out, it was like not something that I was thinking about. And so now that I'm sort of back into that sort of action again, it's been really great for my mindset. It's really sort of helped me sort of like zone into something, like something really positive. I'm actually creating something.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's been a really sort of, uplifting experience for you, and you seem to have definitely come out of your shell a lot, as it seems. Okay, well, it's wonderful to hear that that's been a good experience for you. Another one of the things that we were sort of working on in the first sort of initial session we discussed, you'd had quite a few feelings of anxiety. I just wanted to see, we'd suggested breathing techniques for you. I just wanted to see how those are going and how they're working for you.
Though at first I thought, oh, these are kind of dumb. Didn't really think too much of it, and then I remember there was one time I was sort of going through something and I got really really anxious and like sort of really, a little bit panicky, and I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Let's try this breathing technique, and it worked, and I was like, huh, maybe there's something to this after all. So I sort of started using them when I sort of got a little bit anxious, and I was like, and it's been really, really great just to have something that I can use to just sort of bring myself back into the moment, to sort of stop myself from spinning out of control and like letting my brain spin off into some wayward direction. It's been really great just to sort of be able to have something that I can use to just sort of bring myself back into reality, back into the moment. It's been really helpful. I really actually quite enjoyed the breathing techniques. They're really great for helping me go to sleep as well, actually, believe it or not. I was like struggling to sleep, and I was just like, let's just try this, and it's like sort of calmed down, relaxed me. It was, yeah, it's been good.
It's great to hear that that's been something that's been sort of, beneficial for you, even if you weren't too sure about it at the start.
Mm.
I think throughout this whole process, your perseverance and your commitment towards getting through these stages of your life has been very it's been astounding to see all the
Mm.
effort that you've actually put into this, and you seem to have come quite a long way from where you were when we first started here. I don't know if you remember, but during the first session, we did a bit of a scaling exercise where I said, with 5 being the absolute best that you can be and 1 being significantly lower on the scale, I wanted to see where you were at, and you said you were feeling at about a 1, and I want to see where are you at now? Where do you feel you're at on that scale?
Honestly, with everything that's been sort of going for me, and sort of everything that getting a new job and the men's shed and all of that sort of stuff, I honestly genuinely feel like I'm at least a 4. Even some days I feel like maybe I might be a 5, but I think once I sort of get the rest of my life back on track, I've moved out of home, I've really sort of solidified myself in the job, because I'm still technically on trial at my job.
Okay.
And I will be for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Once I've sort of solidified myself in my job and moved out of home, got in a new place, I feel like I'll sort of be getting really close to that 5, because I've sort of become a little bit more independent. I'm not sort of relying on other people.
Okay. Yeah. So you're sort of feeling like you're at a 4 now, but in like solidifying the job, moving out of home, that's what would make it a 5 for you.
Yeah, I genuinely do believe that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, wow. So it seems like from the start to the end of this process, you've really come such a long way. And you should be really proud of how far you've come. You've done really well for yourself. It's been really great to sort of be here alongside you, like during this process. I just wanted to see, so how are you feeling about ending ending this process today?
I think I'm gonna be okay. I was like quite anxious sort of to end it at the beginning, but now I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. Although there was one sort of thing that I wanted to like chat about today was, there's that journaling thing that you sort of got me to do. I really did try and do it, but the last sort of few weeks I found that it's sort of not really helping. It's sort of I'm just sort of meandering through it and just writing like bits and pieces. And I was wondering if we could, I don't know, if you had any ideas on how I could like change that, or
Yeah, of course.
to something a little bit different. Because I like the idea of sort of putting my ideas together, but the journaling is maybe just a little bit boring.
Okay.
For me at this point in time.
Okay, so it's sort of like you're looking to sort of make a bit of a change to that, and that's what this is all about. This is sort of about finding what works for you. So, what do you feel would be a good change for that? What do you feel about that isn't working for you?
Well, I am sort of like how I sort of said before, I'm quite hands on and quite crafty, so I'm wondering maybe if I should, instead of just like journaling, maybe I can make it a little bit more physical and sort of change that into working a little bit more with my hands again, and also I'm sort of wondering if like the journaling is like even helping me, because I sort of find that when I'm journaling versus, so if I go to think about going to the gym, it's like completely different. It's like I actually want to go to the gym. The journaling is like, oh my god, I have to journal.
Okay. So do you feel like maybe attending the gym would be a good substitute for doing the journaling? Do you think that would be an outlet for you?
I think so. I really do. I think it would be a good way to sort of just kind of get that same, centering and sort of thinking about my day and thinking about sort of that outlet, and compared to the journaling, I think maybe going to the gym, and like how I said earlier, sort of I do used to go to the gym often, but now I sort of don't go at all.
Okay.
And I was sort of thinking about it. That's why I sort of wanted to bring it up here with you, is I didn't know if sort of giving up the journaling would be a good idea, if I should just sort of try and sort of push through and just sort of make it work, or if I could sort of like change that up.
See, I think well, when it comes to finding what works for you, it's all about, you know, what your interests are. You know, if you're finding that the journaling isn't working and you feel like doing something more physical would work, it's definitely worth giving a go. You know, you can always try it out and see how you go and see if that works for you. So, yeah, maybe just change that up and see how that goes.
Mhm.
Was there anything else you'd like to talk about today?
No, that was like my main thing is finding out if giving up the journaling was a good idea or not. That's sort of the only real big thing that I wanted to bring up.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you very much for, you know, coming in today. And, you know, if you do ever find yourself in a position where you need a bit of support or you need someone to talk to, the door is always open here. You know the contact number and you know the opening hours. So, you know, the door is always open.
Thank you so much for that. You know, this has been really so immensely helpful. Sort of coming here, I know I was quite reluctant at the beginning. I didn't really sort of want to come, and then as I was sort of coming along and sort of became part of my regular routine, I was like, I actually quite enjoy coming here and enjoy talking about my time and sort of having a good listening ear to sort of chat to.
It's been great to share this experience with you, and you've really come such a long way in the time that you've been here. You know, all of your commitment to this and actually, you know, putting the time and effort in, you've come leaps and bounds from where you were before, and it's been great to be there alongside you throughout that. So, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. See you.